mystic drifted in a forest of bamboo, accompanied by a strange crew of derelicts and misfits, playing electric instruments, holding magic wands that project the voice and distance of a football, avoiding all pitfalls like a parachute in free fall. Helter skelter scrolling blood on the wall, that's not all. Just my philosophy of seeds, trying to stretch out in a forest of weeds, engulfed in darkness, red ants killing me. Now it's a hard life, you should play your cards right. You on the edge of a sharp knife, but get your heart sliced. It's she's philosophy, live your life with no apology. That's why a guy like me can never cop a plea. Follow me, hard life, you should play your cards right. You on the edge of a sharp knife, but get your heart sliced. It's she's philosophy, live your life with no apology. That's why a guy like me can never cop a plea. Follow me, the sky is falling, my landlord's calling. Got your mental exhaustion, plus your baked beans from Boston, tell you straight up. Sometimes I often pumping out when I first wake up. I wouldn't tell your fables like Acer, then I later. A lot of times I say stuff like makeup, but I can still show you it's not play stuff I made up. I get drunk so much to make love on a sexy night, never satisfied. Have to look the cherry every night. Don't be a fool, seek the light from Mr. Right. Like the Israelite said, black as an Israelite. There went a hard life, you play your cards right. You on the edge of a sharp knife, don't get your heart right. It's his philosophy, live your life with no apology. That's why a guy like me can never probably follow me. Hard life, you should play your cards right. You on the edge of a sharp knife, don't get your heart sliced. It's his philosophy, live your life with no apology. That's why a guy like me can never probably follow me.
Cut it. All right, there you go. All right, so we are back. Okay, that's right. Thank you. There you go. Thank you for reminding me.
You know, you really have to believe in what you're doing in life.
Those who are in retirement finding it hard to sustain.
That's really the message of this show. That's what this show is all about. And we hope you believe in the message as much as we do.
And make some money.
Which is why we're hoping that you'll take this opportunity to support us.
Okay.
Through coffee.com. That's KO dash
January, they're about to have what, 18% increase
the
in
Jamal
Social
Show.
Security.
Please join us there. Consider buying us a coffee. We need the caffeine to keep this show running and to keep telling the truth, quite honestly. So why don't you join us, and we'll give you a nice shout out on the next broadcast. Join us at coffee.com. That's KO-fi.com /The Jamal Show. We really appreciate any support you can give us. Thank you very much.
Hello. Remember that from the Three Stooges, I think. Anyway, that song is called Caesar Labor. It's by Caesar Labor. It's called Caesar Philosophy. And you can find that tune on any streaming platform, if you so please. Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, you choose. Support independent artists. That's what you should do. Now, moving on, the subject is boundaries. And the Democrats definitely broke some in the midterms by not losing a whole bunch of seats. In fact, Mac, they gained a seat in the Senate and a few governor mansions. And, man, I got to tell you.
Well, this sets them up good for the presidential election when you talk about governor, okay? And it also sets them up good for when our boy, or should I say your boy, Clarence, retires.
Yeah, I don't think Clarence, he's talking about Clarence Thomas. And, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sad to tell you that Clarence Thomas is not going anywhere. He's going to die on the bench because he's never going to get a better job than the one he has now. So I'll just tell you from my experience and my opinion. But the subject's boundaries, and I've got to tell you about Joe Biden. It's the same old story with him. Same old story. They underestimate him. They tell him he's too old. They tell him he's senile. They call him Sleepy Joe to make up names. They make fun of how he gets confused on the stage. But that same Sleepy Joe has passed landmark legislation that the last 5 presidents haven't been able to pass. He's nominated more judges than any president in history.
And he's only going to start again now that they have control over the Senate.
He's not even done yet. He's created more jobs than any president in history, over 10 million. In fact, J.P. Morgan is now saying that we may not even go into a recession as deep as they thought in the first place. I mean, Mac, you could talk about Uncle Joe's low polls all you want, but Uncle Joe's other numbers are strong. I'm beginning to think that these pollsters are polling the wrong people.
Well, look,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They just calling people in Kansas and Tennessee and Mississippi.
Yeah.
They ain't calling nobody in New York.
Really?
No one in New York City. And I always wanted to look in the polls. I always wondered about those because, the rumor was that they were flooding the market with a whole bunch of Republican polls right before the midterms. in order to convince people that there was going to be a red wave. Well, there wasn't much of a red wave, was there?
Well, you pick the polls you want to see. I personally, I like the Quinnipiac poll. Okay.
Why? They've been around for a long time.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, also they're a Connecticut poll, and
Yeah,
I understand where they're coming from.
They're not. You got to bring the money home.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just want to say they're polling the wrong people. There was no red wave. We picked up a seat in. I'm a Democrat, so I'm saying we picked up a seat in the Senate. That was nice. We picked up a few governor's mansions. That was nice.
And we had a black governor in Maryland.
And the thing that was really interesting is that Uncle Joe Biden's polls are like below 40%.
Now, just now.
So the question is, what is it that people are disagreeing with? Because it's not his policies. They want to blame him for inflation, but nobody wanted to give the money back when he was giving it out during COVID. No one was like, hey, $800 is too much. I'm going to give some of this back to the government. Nobody said that. Everyone took the money. So everyone approves of his policies. I think it's the image of him not being a strong man. You know what I'm saying? People expect a strong man because they've seen Trump for 4 years. So they want a guy that just doesn't care about anybody. But that's not who Joe is. Anyway, here to help us discuss these results is a good friend of mine, Anthony Johnson. He's a former criminal defense attorney turned political consultant. So yes, he did go to hell. And he just helped pass a big gun safety initiative in Oregon. And we're going to get to that. But first, let me bring on Anthony Johnson for some other issues. Now, Anthony, are you there? Can you hear me? Anthony.
Tony Johnson. Tony. Nope.
Okay, he might be on hold. Let me hold on for a minute. Once again, he's a criminal defense attorney. He's doing a lot of political consulting right now. And I want him to listen to something. I'm going to go ahead and start playing it because I want all of us to listen to it. And the question is very, very simple. The question is, what the hell is this? All right, are you ready, man?
Yeah, go.
All right.
Go.
And he'll be on by the time we get back.
You ever watch a stupid movie late at night, hoping it's gonna get better, don't get better, but you keep watching it anyway? Because the other night I was watching this movie. Called Freak Night, or some kind of night, but it was about vampires. I don't know if you know vampires are cool people, are they not? But I'm gonna tell you something that I found out. A werewolf can kill a vampire. Did you know that? I never knew that, so I didn't want to be a vampire anymore. I wanted to be a werewolf. But then anyway, as I'm watching this movie, and let me tell you how stupid it is, because it's 1 a.m. So I'm watching my TV, these kids watching their TV, vampire kill on their TV. So you know it's kind of stupid, but I'm still watching though. As I'm watching this show, what was funny, these kids had a vampire in their attic at their house. So they were watching their TV. Now I'm watching my TV, as they watching their TV, they see the vampire killer on their TV. So they win this contest to bring this actor. Now, y'all got to stay with me. Bring this actor who's a vampire killer from that TV to get rid of this real life vampire in that ad. You got to have a stake and got to have a thing to kill him in the heart. And you got a necklace of garlic for that work. I don't know what it does, but it worked. You got to have a cross because it burned. I know that worked. They walked upstairs and this vampire looking real good in this black suit. He floated in front of the ceiling looking good and cool. And I'm thinking, whoa, they better get out of that house. As they jumped behind that hero, the guy jumped in front of him with this holy water, threw it on the vampire's forehead. He covered his eye. He took the cross and put it on the vampire's forehead. And the vampire didn't even do anything. He said, that don't work. And that's the way it is in our life. It doesn't work.
Okay, so Dr. Mack.
Yeah.
Anthony, are you there? Anthony, are you there?
Go ahead. We tried.
Yeah, we tried. Well, Dr. Mack, that was Senate hopeful Herschel Walker, past football player. Go ahead and hang up on that. He'll call back. Past football player. He was a great football player. In fact, I was living in Atlanta when he was a football player, and he was damn good. Appears to be not as good of a speaker. What's your take on that?
Well, he does, okay. All right. I mean, he talks about what he knows, and you just, he talks about what he knows. All right.
I mean, that's a nice way to put it. He talks about what he knows. Did you make anything out of that?
No.
You realize he actually went in front of a crowd and said that. And he wants to be senator, not like football coach, senator of Georgia, right?
Right.
And that's what he comes with.
He has to. They want him to be there to cast a vote, and so they don't give it darn about anything else but his ability to cast a vote.
I thought you'd always want to be intelligent. Now, I'm not trying to come down on a black man and say he's stupid, but this black man appears to be a little stupid, right? And as in not intelligent, not as in
you're talking about taking one too many hits, right?
We can put aside the idea that he sounds like a foot shuffling jigaboo, so to speak.
Carpetbagger.
Yeah. Let's
carpetbagger.
He sounds kind of stereotypical, but it's a little disturbing that he can't put a sentence together. Like, I can't make anything of that story. Like, and that's disturbing to me. Like, listen to this. Just a second.
You ever watch a stupid movie late at night, hoping it's gonna get better, don't get better, but you keep watching it anyway? Because the other night I was watching this movie called Freak Night, or some kind of.
So is he running for Senate or is he a stand-up comedian? Is that what you're saying?
The stand-up comedian is Donald Trump. And let's get to that for a minute, because he took a hit in the midterms, right?
Yeah.
One would say that he lost the midterms because most of the people that he wanted to help elect were turned down. I was even surprised that Carrie Lake lost out in Arizona.
Well, no. Carrie has not conceded.
Oh, she hasn't conceded
She
yet.
has not. So don't be saying that.
Yeah, right. That means the election can't be over. The election's not over. It can't be over.
That's right. She hasn't conceded.
Even though she lost. Well,
that's neither here nor
I
there.
had no idea she would get less. I mean, she's very charismatic while she lies. She's a good lying, charismatic person. And even more importantly, Katie Hobbs did not debate her. Right. So that's a problem. That was a problem with me even. I'm like, why don't you debate her? She was scared. Looks like Katie Hobbs still pulled it through.
Well, her opponent said, why should I give her publicity? Why should I go on and which is interesting, Yeah. I mean, just ignore them. And that I think is going to be the way to treat these people who are deniers. I mean, don't give them the air. Okay?
Right. So Trump, he decides to run right after the midterms. He has this thing at Mar-a-Lago, very similar to his first campaign announcement back in 2015. And he locks these people in a room in Mar-a-Lago.
You noticed that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
they were invited there for something else, and next thing you know, he throws on that I'm running, and everybody looks like they came there because of his announcement
for the free food, right? So it's really funny because you can tell they've been locked in. It looks like the world's biggest hostage crisis. It looks like a kidnapping, right? And he doesn't look very happy. I have to ask you, why do you think he's doing this?
Well, he's trying. Trump is playing the game of intimidation. If you're gonna come after me, all right, then let's see you come after me as a candidate, all right, as an ex-president, former president, I should say, all right, while I'm running. And I think that Garland is going to play his cards and say, yeah, all right, here, I'm bad enough to do it. I mean, he's got a special prosecutor coming. He's lining everything up so that it is going to be a solid come at you with Trump.
Well, you know what I don't understand? I don't understand why he would do this for another reason, though, because this is going to be, look, this Trump stuff is all worth it. You know why? For entertainment value. We all know he's a great stand-up comedian, right?
Right.
How do you think he's going to be doing on the stage with Mike Pompeo, with his own staff? With his own staff, Mike Pompeo, Mike Pence is supposed to be running. So literally, they're going to be on stage telling him, you suck and we work for you, so we know you suck. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be like, no, I don't suck, and I want to run with you.
Well, it's going to be interesting because his staff is not going to be naive this time. Once burned, twice warned. And so therefore, when they're not going to put up with a lot of the dumb stuff that Trump has been doing as he runs again. And Trump is going to be without one of his most valuable advisors.
Right.
His daughter.
Right. That's right. His daughter
has
decided not to be involved in politics anymore.
Right.
Or that's the story.
Yeah.
I do believe we have Anthony Johnson on. Anthony, can you hear me this time?
Tony.
Anthony, Tony. He can't hear me.
Nope.
See? James, you called earlier. All right, James, hold on for a minute. We're bringing you in the next segment.
Well,
Sorry to have you hold, but James, you know what? I want to ask you a question. I'm gonna keep you on.
Come on, give us the picture.
All right. Somebody called here earlier, right, and left a really important message, and we need you to help us decipher this message. All right. So I need you to listen closely. All right. You ready? Ready? Here's the message.
You ever watch a stupid movie late at night, hoping it's gonna get better, don't get better, but you keep watching it anyway? Because the other night I was watching this movie. I was watching this movie called Freak Night, or some type of night, but it was about vampires. I don't know if you know vampires are some cool people, are they not? But I'm gonna tell you something that
You heard that? Vampires some cool people.
Vampire. Did you know that? I never knew that, so I didn't want to be a vampire.
So this is the man who's gonna be the next senator in Georgia, according to him. A great football player back in the 80s. His name is Herschel Walker. And I'd like you to make some sense out of that message. I mean, does this make sense to you?
You ever watch a stupid movie
listen.
Late at night, hoping it's gonna get better, don't get better, but you keep watching it anyway?
It's 90 seconds, brother. Stay with me.
The other night I was watching this movie. I was watching this movie called Freak Night,
Listen for a little longer. See if you can make something of it.
Vampires some cool people. Are they not?
There's some cool people.
Something that I found out. A werewolf can kill a vampire. Did you know that? I never knew that, so I didn't want to be a vampire anymore. I want to be a werewolf. But then anyway, I'm watching this movie, and they can tell how stupid it is because it's 1 a.m. So I'm watching my TV.
All right,
that's enough. We got it.
All right, you got the point, right? Now there was a great ending to that story, but I did not know I had no idea where it was going. Where's it going, James? You tell me. You're the smart guy here.
It's all about part of just taking the voters for granted. You know what I mean? Like, we could just put up anybody who's going to say anything as long as they're cool with Donald Trump. And, Herschel Walker is one of those guys. Now, like I told you before, for me, he's got a country voice, a country accent and stuff like that. But I agree with Dave Chappelle in terms of, like, you can't really make light of Herschel Walker without using these well-worn, like, stereotypical, you know what I'm saying? Tropes that have been used against
black males, yes.
So, he does not sound smart. He's not a very smart sound.
But he fits the stereotype so well. But he...
Say it again. Say that again.
But he fits the stereotype so well, Jimmy. I mean, he fits it so well. I mean, I promise you guys, go look up foot shuffling Negro right now in the dictionary. And I mean, Jesus. I mean, and Dr. Mack would know more about that because he's more familiar with these stereotypes, right?
Stephen Fletcher, right?
Yeah, right. So, and the thing you have to remember, I guess, what you're trying to say, Jimmy, on the good side is that he's not trying to be that. Like, he's not going out like, I'm going to be the most footsteppingest Negro out here. I got a jig and everything. He's not trying to do that.
He was sitting next to Lindsey Graham when Lindsey Graham was talking, and he had his shoulders hunched. Go back and watch that.
Okay.
His shoulders are hunched, and he's sitting like hunched over.
Go ahead.
Like kind of like in a yes'em kind of position.
Don't do that. No.
Like, you almost expected Lindsey Graham to like touch him on top of the head.
And no.
Boy.
This is one of the good ones, you know? But the thing that's amazing to me is that they couldn't find somebody else. And you know what? You got to put this on the plate of Donald Trump.
Is this before or after Lindsey Graham cried?
Yeah. It was so condescending to black people. They were like, okay, hey, we know that Raphael Warnock's a black guy, so we're going to put up another black guy. That way you can vote for this guy. And because you all you're all dumb, hey, we'll put up a guy who played football. You love football, don't you?
Yeah.
And football is important.
That was kind of the logic behind that. And it worked with Tommy Tuberville in Alabama.
Yes.
Yeah, Tommy Tuberville didn't even apologize for saying that black people were criminals like a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he was just like, well, I said it. But let's talk about Speaker Pelosi right quick.
No, real quick. Tell me about Omeo in Georgia. Tell me about what happened to Stacey.
What do you think happened to Stacey Abrams, man?
Man, I don't know, because she lost by a lot.
A lot.
I don't know, but I know this. She helped bring a about this whole thing that
again, she
not
brought
the mail-in
Georgia
balloting
Democrat.
itself, but the machine
Mhm.
that we have for generating votes. So it seems like so many times Black women carry the load, and then they get dropped, and that's what I think happened to Stacey Abrams.
Well,
The infrastructure that we used to win those 2 seats in Georgia, and she showed the way forward in terms of how to galvanize Black vote. Like, she had this one initiative that was just about, she had a whole bunch of lawyers assigned throughout Georgia, just helping people who had been convicted of felonies.
Right.
Because I forgot, I think 7 out of 10 people who had been convicted of felonies could still vote.
Right.
If they did this, and this.
Right.
And she just had people going out to help the guys fill out their paperwork.
Right.
Like, she did so much to help Warnock be where he is, and John Ossoff. I don't know what happened with her.
Well, I can just say this: she got caught up in the whole Trump thing in a way, and this is what I mean by that. Her governor Kemp was one of the only governors that's a Republican that supported Trump that did not go for the big lie. He was like, "Oh no, yeah, I like Trump. I voted for Trump, but he's lying, and I'm not going to go for that." And every governor that refused Trump's big lie won. Gretchen Whitmer won. Every governor that refused the lie won. And Brian Kemp is popular in Georgia. He's got that Georgia accent. If you're white in Georgia, or even a moderate Black in Georgia, you don't mind Brian Kemp. You know what I'm saying? You don't mind Brian Kemp. And then he has these talking points, right? Like, she's right about voters being disenfranchised in Georgia. But the plain fact is that more voters voted in Georgia than ever before. So when you have stats like that, there was still disenfranchisement, though. It's just hard to make that argument when there was more voters that voted in the last election.
Yeah.
So every time she came out and said voters were disenfranchised, they were like, "Look at the numbers, man. You're out of touch." And I know what she was talking about. It's like saying that, if you say less Black people were killed by cops this year, that doesn't mean Black people weren't killed by cops. That doesn't mean Black people weren't disenfranchised. But someone can still make you seem ineffective by saying, hey, 1,000 less Black people were killed this year. That's definitely progress. Well, it's progress if there weren't more Black people interacting with cops. There's a lot of different things with statistics, right?
Statistics don't lie.
What do they say? They say there's lies, there's damn lies, and then there's statistics, right? and there's another part of Stacey Abrams. I think that she didn't go as a happy warrior. Stacey Abrams, if you're a white bread person, and you see Stacey Abrams coming down the block with her kind of talk and the way she carries herself, I can see some people being scared of her.
Yeah.
If I was Stacey Abrams' opponent, I would be scared. If I had to run against,
strong Black women, period. I'll tell you this much: being in DC, Stacey Abrams has made herself in terms of a career. Basically, she's going to be the hot new heavyweight consultant that you need if you're in any kind of Democratic national politics.
I think Stacey Abrams
she'll set up a think tank, a liberal think tank, or a consulting firm like what Kellyanne Conway does.
Right.
And she'll just make people. So on the public side, it's unfortunate she lost and everything like that. But if you look at her credentials and you look at what she could do from the inside, every candidate for the next, 20, 30 years that comes out of the South that's a Democrat is going to need her machine. You know what I mean?
And let me just tell you, I think she should have run for senator instead. I never thought she would for governor.
Now we're on the topic where I think that she should be going to. She should identify a House seat and go after it, because she can define the boundaries and the group of people better than the entire state. Right? She can win a House seat.
I disagree. I think a House seat would be too small for her. We're talking about a woman. If Stacey Abrams waited till 3 a.m. and broke into the White House this morning, like tomorrow morning, Biden would wake up and say, "Hey, we got a crook. We got to get the Secret Service," and he'd see her and say, "Oh, welcome, welcome. We didn't know you didn't have a key already."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? See,
power players. Behind the scenes, like you remember Trent Lott? Remember him long ago?
Yeah.
Remember white guy, Trent Lott,
Yeah.
from like Tennessee or whatever. He had an issue when he celebrated Strom Thurmond's 100th birthday.
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah. But I'm just saying that
He's making buku dollars, man. Like working a boutique firm, you know, all where raising funds, dealing with lobbying, you know.
Jimmy
That's
with
what
the
Stacey Abrams will do.
Jimmy with the eight.
Itty bitty scandal there.
Who's this?
Stacey Abrams did have a son.
Okay, you know how to play the game. I see.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy with the age references, I bring you back in because I know you have a book you want to talk to us about. I want to give you it's on this topic, and I want to get into it. So let's go ahead and play a song. Why don't you hold on?
Give us a minute.
Yeah, give us a couple minutes to play a song that you might like. In fact, listen to it because I know you like old school hip hop. All right, and we'll get right back to you. Hey, people, we're giving you a break, so why don't we get into the song now? All right, my man. Need some more water. That was a nice transition. I'm glad you called earlier.
The other guy didn't have a call.
Yeah, I think something must have happened. I'm calling
again. The thought of you being gone is just bothering. I reminisce all the times that we had again.
Turn it up a little bit so I can look again. This is my only recording of it today. Oh, I need to drink my coffee. No coffee for you?
It seems crazy, you the only one that's tolerant. My brothers can't, the mothers can't. I again, it is I again. Half the person that you are, like 5 and 10. You want my guided man.
It's still in good speakers, aren't it?
Blessed like all etiquette. And then you said, forcing my progress. You said never risk a slow process. So now you step, huh? Right then. I again. Goodbye again.
You're already packed, right?
Yeah.
So all you gotta do is go up and get the bag.
Yeah.
All right, we're good. I got a full tank of gas. I just fixed my tire last night.
Really?
I again.
It's safe to ride in the car.
Yep, it's safe again to ride my car.
I pray and me to help me forget all the times again. Forget you then, hopefully I rap again. I spend my weeks, days, hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, but I get a sense of what it feel like when you miles. Sitting like crazy, hopefully I find.
I had a hard weekend, man. I was up. I was up all night last night. I got a petition due on Monday at my job. My first one. My first trial is in March 19th. Free to come and watch me if you want. You're the supervisor. Yes, that's a good guard. Yeah. I noticed you have the new suit and stuff.
I again, I'm high again. I said I wasn't, but you know I've been lying. I'm trying to stand on my own, my 2 feet. Every single man playing what you need. You know what? I'm so done crying over beats. All I know is free fame, panties, and there's no relief. Nobody give a shit about me. You like the only one who really gives a shit about me.
This should be ending now. It's at the end, right? Oh, it does? No, hold on. Because, oh, yeah, let me just get the thing up for him right quick. All right, let's talk. We get down. Hello again, my friends. Life is for the living here at the Jamal Show, the place to get intelligent. The last piece of music is called High Again. It's on an African compilation album called The Lounge, and the rapper is Joe Legendary.
All right, tell me about this book, man. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Zibuka.
All right, see, because usually you do like this nice little.
Oh, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I forgot. Mac is drunk again.
Sorry.
Mac is drunk again.
That's why they
Let me go into my thing.
See?
Jimmy is a special kind of person. If you know what I mean, he reads a lot of books. Sometimes every now and then, without us even asking, Jimmy tells us about the books he reads. And damn it, he makes us want to read those books too. So I thought I'd do us all a favor and bring my old friend Jimmy to the Jamal Show. Audience, he's going to help us make us all a little bit more intelligent. And you know what? He does deserve an intro song. And we're going to play that right now. Let's see. Is it going to be this one?
No, wait a minute. No. You done sounded on us now.
There we go. Jimmy demands his full red carpet, and he gets it.
Jimmy, may I say Mayor Cooper, Mayor Maximo Cooper.
What book do you have for us today, young friend? Old friend.
Okay, the book of the day is called Thanks for Your Servitude, and it's by Mark Leibovich.
I can't believe you actually read that.
Green Room, that was a very popular book a little while ago. So Thanks for Your Servitude is a book about the Donald Trump years. But what Leibovich does is he has an extraordinary access to a lot of these people. He was interested not in another analysis of Donald Trump, because we've heard those for ad nauseum. He was interested in what makes the people who helped Donald Trump tick. What makes those people like Lindsey Graham, people like Kevin McCarthy. So he did extensive interviews with these guys. And basically, Leibovich is talking from like a political and an intellectual standpoint. But when I read the book, what I heard, it's almost biblical. These people literally sold their souls to the devil. Like people like Lindsey Graham, people like Kevin McCarthy, people like Mitch McConnell. Donald Trump, if you add a little bit of religion in it and look at it from a religious standpoint, it's really very much like those old parables that you would hear about the devil. How the devil comes and has people sell their souls to him. And you would wonder, like, wait, how can you sell your soul to Satan?
Just call it.
How can you do that?
What it is. Just call it what it is, Jimmy. It's an antichrist. Antichrist. Jim?
Is what?
The Antichrist.
Yeah. I mean, and you don't even have to literally call him that. It's like it's a metaphor. Trump is a metaphor for what it takes, and that's why the book is so interesting. What it takes to get people to sell themselves. Like Lindsey Graham, all he wanted to do is be near power.
Well,
that's what Leibovich concludes.
So
if you look at the way Lindsey Graham is acting around Donald Trump, it's the same way he used to act around John McCain. Like he simply finds a strong person and then sucks up to that person.
That's interesting. That's interesting that Dr. Mack mentions the Antichrist, which kind of gives away his age a little bit. And if a guy came in here and asked, I'm going to shoot the Catholic, he wouldn't have a hard time finding out who that was. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so it's hard for me to use religious references when dealing with Trump, because we know that we're dealing with a cultist here, like the leader of a cult, kind of like a fascist leader here. So we kind of play into it by calling him the Antichrist in a way. They're like, yeah, we knew you called him that. You know what I'm saying? That's what everyone, all you think, that's what you thought of him the whole time. You hate him. They play off of that. They play off emotion. Let me just say this. The thing that's most striking about after the midterms is that the Republicans are literally making their agenda not fixing roads, not like lowering costs of prices. Their big thing was going after Hunter Biden. That baffles me. I mean, I'm just like, half the country don't even know who Hunter Biden is, and the other half don't care. And I'm just like, you're gonna use your announcement now that you have the House, not say, hey, our roads need to be fixed. Hey, we need to make sure everyone has broadband. Hey, we need to make sure that government's not big anymore and infringing on people. Their number one thing that they had to get out, they couldn't wait, was, we got to do something about Hunter Biden.
Right. We're going to investigate Biden and his son.
It's going to work. They've identified something. They've identified that about half of the American public is susceptible to false information, and half the American public is willing to get angry off of false information. So the Hunter Biden thing is simply to flood the zone with things that could potentially be conspiracy and a lot of false stuff. Hunter Biden has been married 3 times. I think he's married to the wife, the widow of his brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's stuff that they're just going to flood the zone with that stuff. And then meanwhile, they're saying QAnon and Joe Biden is a Satanist that eats children and all of that. And what it's going to do is it drives up the anger, it drives up the confusion, and it softens the way for this misinformation. See, coming from East Africa, I've seen this playbook. This is how dictators do. They soften up the ground with a lot of this So you're going to hear a lot of salacious, ugly stuff, and some say, like Hunter Biden married the widow of his brother.
Well, wait a minute.
That is a fact.
Well, if we can go back to the Old Testament, my man. I mean, that's what we have been told we're supposed to do when your brother dies. You're supposed to take care of his wife.
The gunman is looking for the Catholic and has now found him.
Go ahead.
All right. We are.
Go ahead.
Yeah, finish your last sentence. We're running out of time.
My belief structure, if my brother passes on, I'm supposed to marry his wife. Those are the kind of things they want you talking about, because that's a lot of people are going to be turned off by something like that, right? And so therefore, that's easier to talk about than fixing roads, because that is going to bring down Joe Biden.
All right, we got to go. I'm leaving my listeners with one message really quick. Listen very closely.
You ever watch a stupid movie late at night, hoping it's gonna get better, don't get better, but you keep watching it anyway?
Love you, Jimmy. See you in 2 weeks,
great.
man.
It was great, Jimmy.
God bless you.
Talk to you, buddy.
Love y'all listeners, man. See y'all in 2 weeks. Sorry, we went over. It was a good time, though. At least.
I think that was good at the end. I could bring your theme.
Yeah. That tells people when I can't interrupt them. That tells people, hey,
Al Sharpton did the same thing. His producer brings up keeping it real.